Thank you very much. Good morning, all of you. I hope not to tire you, because we are at the end of our symposium. I would like to thank Ana Margarida Abrantes and Augusta Gaspar for inviting me for this talk. It's very nice to be here and share sign language, emergent science in the São Tomé and sign language. My talk today is about that, and the starting point is that some years ago, precisely 5 years ago, I stated with co-writers António Benítez Borraco and Alexandre Castro Caldas that language is recursive. The language is recursive, and that's a main property of language. I was really believing in that, but the thing is, I went to São Tomé and Principe to make an emergency program with sign language, and when looking at the data, I just rethought about my thoughts. So when looking at a newborn language, in the beginning, is there really recursivity? Is there arbitrariness? And how a newborn language can, for me, is a kind of sophisticated suite of mental adaptations that highlights the intimate relations between language and emotions. And that's my starting point for today. But before that, I will just introduce you to the fascinating world of looking at how it happens when a sign language borns. Before that, São Tomé and Principe is a Portuguese island. It's not a Portuguese island. São Tomé. They are not Portuguese anymore, but they were discovered by Portuguese navigators in the 15th century. Portuguese is still the official language, although they speak also Foro, which is Creole, local Creole, and other Creoles also. It's a non-industrialized country, and 3% of the population is deaf or hard of hearing, which is a huge percentage, and that is due to rubella. They don't have vaccinations, consanguinity, because it's a small island, environmental diseases such as malaria, and side effects of malaria. And that was all studied by Cristina Caroça in 2014. She's a medical doctor, and she did her PhD on that, on São Tomé and Principe deafness, causes of deafness. So, deaf children were isolated. They were not attending to school because they were going to school and the teachers say, "You're not doing anything here, so go away." They were represented in their families as a social shame because of the prototypical sense of uselessness in traditional African family. So they were in a social deprivation and, of course, in language deprivation. So what our project was a linguistic project and was to promote the emergence of a sign language among the deaf, avoiding also linguistic imperialism. What is avoiding linguistic imperialism? We were signers of Portuguese Sign Language, and the deaf researcher there was a signer also, but we were not there to teach them another sign language. We were there to promote their own language. They were the owners of that language, and that's it. And when the language was born, to provide, and what was stabilized, to provide the language of access to education to the deaf community. And the results 7 years later is that they attend to schools, they pass their exams, and they are okay. So it worked. Our timeline was 2 years, from February 2013 to February 2015. In a common space, they were divided, were 100 participants, most of them females, 80%, and they were aged from 4 to 24. Of course, they were not all in the same room because it's not possible. They were divided in four separate groups. The sessions were all video recorded, totalizing about 400 videos, about 1 hour each. So I have a corpus for a lifetime study. I still didn't have transcribed and annotated all the corpus, but some of it, and that's about that I'm going to share today. So, what was the method to make it happen? The deaf researcher was provided cards, you'll see it on the videos, I will show you, of everyday items, and they were asked to name it with a sign. And later, when the language was more developed, where they have signs in their lexicon, there were narratives constructed by us, and they were asked to tell about these narratives, to sign these narratives. I will show you also. So, the first class. This one group. She's showing a pencil sharpener, and you see they all sit there, and the bold one, the boy, begins, and then the others begin. Now it's dog, I think, the next one. Yeah, she shows a dog, and they just sign a dog. Now it's goat, and there's always the one bold who is the leader, and he goes there. What I want to show also with this video is that's how the sign's born. But they look expectant, and then when they begin to sign, they get emotional. I'm not a specialist in emotions, people here are, but I can tell they are happy. Look at them. They are just socializing. They are just cooperating. So, what are the results of these first signs? What I found they were 92% of the analyzed signs were iconic. They were constructed based on iconic processes that visually represent the shape or the function. You just saw it, dog and goat, and it's very visual. So iconicity in the formation of early signs was apparent in signs such as dog, cat, eat, pencil sharpeners, etc. Signs emerge through the representation of the shape of the object or action, through the depiction of prototypical salient visual characteristics of the reference, and that's not arbitrariness. So I would like you to see another video where you can, that's sleep. I just put it back, I'm sorry. Go. He's 4 years old, this little boy. Sleep, very iconic. Boat, it could be a wave, but it's good for a boat too. Bicycle. And rain. How it rains from there. So, house, yeah, that's very iconic also. So one result is that it's not arbitrariness, it's very iconic, signs are really motivated. Also, there's another characteristic of phonology of these emergent signs. Phonology in sign languages, for people who don't know, divides in certain features. For instance, hand shape, which is the hand shape hands assume for doing a sign, location, if it's here, facial expression, you do have lots of facial expression. It's not the same facial expressions that we were talking before. It's not emotional facial expression, it's grammatical facial expression. And it's processed by left hemisphere because the brain recognizes it as a linguistic issue and not emotional one. So it's very interesting about that. Facial expression and other non-manual articulators, because we can use one hand, two hands, we can use also legs, we can use trunk, you can use the head, you can use shoulders, you can use everything when you sign. So when languages are more established, like Portuguese Sign Language or American Sign Language or whatever, you just sign here, you don't sign here. Signing here, you can sign here, but it's like crying. It's like prosody that Cesar was told us. It's just, you know, big space. Here it's not, they are not crying. They are just happy to explore all their space. And also they have another characteristic, phonological characteristic, is that they use hand one and hand two. Very predominantly. That is, they use a lot, one hand and two hands, and all the established languages use one dominant hand and the other as non-dominant. So I'll show you the signing space, so you can see is just telling a story about a film, which is Madness, something like that. But he uses it all. Look at him. He just signs and uses all his space. He's happy to do this. Really expressive. And that expression also is in facial expression. Okay, I will stick to the point. Here also, this guy is doing narratives, and he's doing, for eating, I do have to fish. Look, he uses both hands. Eating, I have to fish. Well, besides this, there's a kind of in emergent morphology, and in this emergent morphology, we can see that a principle of economy is present here in a newborn language. They use two signs stated before, agreed before, consensual ones, for naming another thing. That is, for instance, banana will be tree plus banana, or girl will be woman plus child. If they had the sign for woman, they had the sign for child. So a little girl will be that like that. That's very interesting. Also, this power of combining and this power of economy of language. And there is no recursivity. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's very striking, but no, there is not. We did not find in our analysis, in our syntactic analysis, any recursivity. And that is also found in the studies of Wendy Sandler. Sorry? The studies of Wendy Sandler and Irit Meyer of Al Said Bedouin Sign Language, they also find that. So really, recursivity, as Meyer said in Evolang 2 years ago, it's overrated as a property of language. So there is no mechanism involved here, yet the semantic function of reported speech is conveyed. Regarding basic order, we studied that, and we found that there is a main basic order in São Tomé and Principe Sign Language, which is OSV, object, subject, verb. I will show you some. It's rather flexible. It's not 90% of the constructions are like that, but it's kind of 80% of the constructions are that. So I would not think that as a topicalization. I would more think that it's an order. It's a kind of an emergent order. I will show you a video. This guy is telling us about coffee, planted coffee, and I planted coffee. No, coffee I planted, I'm sorry. Coffee I eat, and coffee I sell. So, sorry, go there. No, I'm sorry. I want to show you this video because I think this is the main issue that makes that language evolved in such a short time. They're just doing nothing. They're just gesturing. I'm sorry. They're saying, oh God, I don't want to cry. But look at them, they are so happy. As I said before, I'm not specialist in facial emotion expressions, but I can see these guys are happy. So it's that. It's cooperation. Look at him. It's cooperation, it's communication, it's emotion. That's the main stuff in an emergent language. That's not the properties, the recursion. Well, okay, they exist, or they maybe exist in when the language evolves, but that's far more important. And as a linguist, in a Chomskyan line, I always believed in that, you know, arbitrariness, differences from animal communication systems, etc. But this make me think differently. So, capturing aspects of a new language emergent reveals properties of our language capacity that are usually inaccessible, and what this is really a privilege. So, scholars since Hockett, as I said before, claim that language is arbitrary. In our findings, we did not find that. When 22% of the signs are not arbitrary, look, in the beginning they are not. I guess when language evolves, that comes, but not in the beginning. Hauser and Chomsky also insist in recursivity as a major property responsible for the openness of human language, its capacity for discrete infinity which distinguish human language from animal communication systems. In our findings, we did not find that. We found that cooperation and a culture grounded respect, background respect, was a key success for the emergence of this newborn sign language. And I state that language is a part of a sophisticated suite of mental adaptations and highlights the intimate interactions between language and emotions. It stresses the role of cultural innovation and cultural learning in the evolution of language and stresses the obvious need of cooperation. And you see there, look, two very different photos. One, she's with her peers in class and she's talking about what she has eaten the previous day. The other one is with his mother at the hospital, and the mother is simply not communicating with him. And you see little white hands before, because he's happy, because he's communicating with me. So that's it. Language is for communication, language is for expressing emotions, and language is for that. So that must be a major issue when we talk about language evolution. So, social emotions are a precondition for the evolution of instructive communication and controllable imagination, and that's not me who said that, but Tomasello, and I'm sorry. And it implies that different aspects of language, including ability for recursion, evolve gradually and incrementally with the entwined context of tool-making, collaborative social practice and communications. That's a very nice paper by Jablonka in 2012. So, ending, and I hope to have respect to my time, I agree with Tomasello's suggestion that human cooperation has unique features, and suggests that one of the contributing factors making human cooperation and aggression unique is the language-based control of emotions. Our ability to control emotions can lead not only to inhibitory effects, but to excitatory ones. Language can be mobilized for aggression and for cooperation. Because signs or words and phrases construct and stabilize human mental emotional categories, language makes it much easier to manipulate emotions for both aggressive and cooperative sets or ends. Thank you very much. That's some of our outputs of this project, papers on journals and dictionary and scholar manual. Thank you very much for your attention.